I'm Jim Lewis. I'll be your instructor in this set of videos. Before we get started, let's talk about the exam. You want to make sure you get all signed up for the exam in the area that you're taking that exam in, of course. Get the application, get it filled out, get it in. Some of them require a 45-day period before you actually, before the actual test date. Others, not quite so lengthy, but get your exam application filled out, get signed up for that thing. Give yourself ample time to be prepared for that exam. That's a sure way to fail if you don't. A lot of electricians go into that exam expecting to be tested on what they do actually every day as an electrician. If you've taken that electrical exam before, you'll probably agree with me. They test you on about 95% of everything you don't have to do out in the field every day. They test you strictly on the National Electrical Code, not what you do every day out in the field. So you got to get familiar with this code book. Now, when you get into that exam itself, you got to be careful with the time. The time is the problem that day. All exams are timed exams. Some, like a journeyman exam, some are 3 hours, some are 4 hours. On the master exam, the contractors, some are 4 hours, some are 5 hours. And if you go to the state of Georgia, it's a real lengthy exam. It's an 8-hour test. It's all day. You got a 4-hour session in the morning, take a lunch break, 4-hour session in the afternoon. Where the 4 and 5-hour exams are straight through usually with no lunch break. Watch the time. What I always found works real good, if you go through that exam, make 3 different passes through that exam. On that first pass through, never even open the code book. Read each question, answer the ones you know from memory. And there'll be some of them you know with proper study, of course. Go through and get all that easy stuff out of the way. And also, as you do that, you're getting familiar with what that whole test is about. Now, on that second pass through, start answering from the code book the easier to find questions. By easier to find, when you read that question, it basically tells you where to go in that book, where to get started. It might be on swimming pools. You go to Article 680. You might have 2 or 3 pool questions during that exam. Try to get all 2 or 3 while you're in that section, and you're done with pools. Maybe it's on line fixtures, Article 410. Maybe it's on one of the new sections, the wind turbines in the 2011 code book. Go to that section, try to get all the questions that are in that exam from that section while you're there. And as you go through, you'll find some lengthy type, real wordy questions, a question maybe you got to read it 2 or 3 times to understand what they're really asking you. Those, save them to last. Save them to last. And as you go through, if you see a calculation problem, it's a subject you're really familiar with on the first or second pass through, go ahead and work it. Usually, most of the calculation problems are fairly short little calculations. Get them out of the way. Get them over with. If it's something you're not positive about, skip it. Save it to last. Every question counts the same point value. Get all the points you can on that first 2 passes through that exam. Then on the 3rd pass through that exam, it's time to get really serious with the remaining questions that you haven't answered. Read each question carefully. Read every word in that question. Don't read part of a question. Read the whole question. One little word, they can change one little word in a question. Make it a whole new thing that they're looking for. It's all multiple choice, A, B, C, or D. Now, toward the end of the time limit, maybe you got 5 or 6 questions you're not sure about, you just don't know what to do. It happens to everyone almost. Guess at them if you have to. They know all about that when in doubt, guess C trick. Everyone teaches that. Well, if I have to guess at a question, this is the way I guess at it. I'll read that question. I'll read all 4 answer choices. Now, out of those 4, a lot of times you can eliminate 2 of them, not even practical. Then choose the answer choice you feel fits best in that question. And they'll give you some questions. There'll be a few in almost every exam you won't find in the code book. They're not in the code book. Identification, markings on conductors, Some of the low voltage conductors have no marking, no voltage marking on there. It's a UL listing. You probably don't have a UL book with you. Kind of unfair in a lot of ways. It should be information that you can find in the books that are allowed into that exam. But most tests have 2 or 3 of those on there you won't find in the code book. And you can spend a lot of time looking for something that's not even there. Look at the answer choices, choose the one you fit that fits best. Don't leave that exam room early. If you finish that test early and you got some extra time, go back to question 1, read it. Make sure you got the answer choice marked that they're looking for. Go through every question again. Make sure while you're in that test room, before that time limit's up, you get every point that you can possibly get. You want 100% on that test. Most areas require 75% to pass. Get as many points as you possibly can. Sometimes you think you walk out of that test feeling confident. You feel like I hardly missed anything. Next thing you know, you get a 52 grade back. You fell for a lot of the traps that they had set for you. The first 5, 6, 7 questions on every test, be careful. They'll take your confidence away if you're not careful. They'll give you questions, you read that first one. Really have no idea what they're talking about. Ooh, what is this? Question 2. Ooh, I don't know that one either. Question 3. You start thinking you're gonna fail. And if you're not careful, it's about the easiest thing to do that day. You'll talk yourself into failing that exam. Don't let that happen. Don't let them take your confidence away. Get that easy stuff done to start with. Your confidence is up. Now spend the rest of that time, relax, find the answers in the code book. Work the problems you're sure of. Make sure you've got more than 75%. You want 100%. It's okay to miss a few. Remember that during the test. That always helps. Now in this series of videos, we're going to get ready for the calculations that are involved on that test. Now, the other part of the test, really, once you practice these calculations, they're fairly routine, fairly easy. Fairly easy, as long as you remember how to work them, of course. The hard part of the test is that other part. Find the answers from the code book. Find the answers. That's the hard thing to do. I put a little workbook together. Journeyman Master Electrical Exam Workbook. Now what I've done here, I start you out in Article 90 and 100. I give you previously used exam questions from each chapter of the code book all the way through chapter 9. You start out in chapter 1, in Article 100, 200, 300, 250, 600, 700, 800, the communication sections, and also questions from chapter 9. And these first few exams, these first exams as you go through, are almost in numerical order. Once you find that first one, that second one's going to be kind of close by. It's not going to be very far away. And it's going to take you through it. It gives you a reason to read the code book. You can't just sit down and read the doggone code book. Man, that's a boring book if you try that. But if you're looking for the answer, now you've got a reason to read each section of the code book. I did a 6-month study in classes that I do before I put this book out for publication. This thing has worked. It's worked real good. Now in the back of the book, there's 6 exams in the back of the book, not in numerical order. They're all mixed up all over the code book, just like the exam that you're going to take. And in this book, there's no calculations. The calculations are on the videos. This will get you through the other part of the book, other part of the exam. You've heard of the Quick Finder Index. If not, you need to hear about it. There's 2 or 3 of these on the market. What I've done, I've put together an index to the code book. Maybe they ask you grounding healthcare facilities. That's fairly easy. It's in 517.13, page 443. Gives you the code reference, gives you the page numbers in the 2011 code book. Much, much better index than anything else on the market out there. This one is for the loose leaf type code book. You pull that bar off, throw the cover away, stick it in your code book. It's punched for the code book. Now, if you're not going to put it in your code book, you have to be careful putting stuff in your code book. Like a desk reference, I've got a spiral bound version of the same book. What I like about spiral binding, you can do it any way you want to. This thing works. Sells for $16. Another thing that helps a lot, I have tabbed and highlighted code books. What's highlighted in these code books in yellow is journeyman question. Question's been used only on the journeyman exam. If it's in orange, it's been used on both exams, journeyman and master. There's over 2,400 previously used test question answers highlighted in these code books. It's tabbed with color-coded tabs, comes with an index. These sell for $189. Code books have gotten rather expensive. That's 7 hours of highlighting, hand highlighting in those code books. You will find those answers a lot quicker with that highlighted book. Most areas allow tabbed and highlighted code books. You want to check with the area that you're taking that exam in. And I've had people call me up, like on this set of videos. People have called me up and said, why are your DVD set priced so low compared to others? I mean, most others start out at about $400 for a set, and there's some on the market for $1,400. If you want to spend that kind of money, call me up. We'll work a deal. I price mine affordable for an electrician, and what I do on my videos, and you will see as you go along, I don't do a commercial on my products. What I just talked about is the only one you're going to see. I don't talk about sports accomplishments. I don't talk about all the travels that I've done in my life. I've crossed the Pacific Ocean many times. I'm not going to charge you to tell you that. I give you the technical information. When you put that DVD in there, we start with the subject, we go through the subject, we work problems together, and that's the end of that video. On each of my videos, I give you the technical information you need to pass that exam. That's what you're paying me for. And by doing it that way, I've got 9 videos rather than 12 or 14 or 16 videos that you don't need, information you don't need. You want to know about me? Call me. I'll talk to you all you need. Now, as you go along in this set of videos, you get hung up somewhere, call me. Right here's the phone number. 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I take calls 7 days a week. If I'm doing a class, and I do a lot of weekend classes, and I do some evening classes, leave me a message. I'll call you back just as quickly as I can. Email me, jimlewis@codeelectricprep.com. Email me a question anytime. When you bought this set of videos, you hired me to get you through the calculation part of that test. That's what I'm going to do. If I don't hear from you, I think you got it. If you get hung up somewhere and you need me, my job is to get you through that test. You call me. You get in touch with me, go to my website. All my products are on the website. Now, it's time to get started. Try to do the videos in the order that you received them. The next one after the introduction is resistance and voltage drop. Put that one in, we'll get started. After that one, you're going to do some conductor ampacities from Article 310. That's going to be followed by box fill and conduit fill. That one is followed by motors. One subject leads you into another subject, into another subject. So do them in the order that you got them. Keep your workbook that came with the videos handy. If you need me, call me. Okay, put in that resistance voltage drop DVD and let's get started.